thought maybe real quick before we go up and start playing with the, starting the first foundation of the pizza oven, that we finally come up with a design we're going to choose. I want to take a quick look at my bees. I had one hive out of 4 die this year. Maine had an extremely cold, extended winter. So I was actually afraid of all 4 of my hives running into trouble. And I typically check them in January to see how they're doing and maybe give them a little bit more food to get them through till spring. And I wasn't able to do that because it was so cold. Then when I finally got to open them up, it was March. And when I opened them up, the first 3 hives, very peaceful. I have very friendly hives. They were great. But the 4th hive, my green hive, they just came at me like kamikaze pilots. It was tough. They were mad. They did not like me being there at all. And I didn't anticipate that, so I really didn't have on anything for protective gear. Didn't think I needed it at that time. I ended up getting stung 6 times on one hand before I finally got the cover down. So I decided when I opened them up in April, if that last hive was still mean, I was definitely going to get rid of the queen. Because if I get rid of the queen sets the temperament for the whole hive. I'd replace her with another friendly queen. So I closed them up immediately, and I noticed that green hive had enough patty anyway, so I didn't have to replace it. So it'd give them enough food till I opened them up again. Well, 3 weeks go by. I opened them up in April. It's only been 3 weeks, and I lost my green hive. They were completely gone. Not sure what did it, but what I want to do is I did a quick autopsy of the first, well, actually be the second box already, but I want to get into the first box just a little bit to see if it tells me anything else. This is the hive that failed. They all died in April. I think there was like a 2-week window when they passed away after I had opened them up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take out a couple of the bottom frames and take them over so we can look at them a little closer. I'm seeing what I thought I would see is the bees in the individual frames, they're just different clusters. So I think what happened was the month of April was yet another cold month. We've had a tough year in Maine. But April we had some really warm days that hit close to 80, but we had nights that were below freezing. So what I think they did is they broke cluster, as a group. They broke up a little too fast because they thought it was warm enough to do so. And then we had a hard freeze, and because they were all in individual groups instead of all together keeping warm, I believe they all froze to death. So I'm going to lift one of these frames out just so we can take a closer peek. Wow, there is literally nothing in it, which is what I'd expect to find, because in the wintertime they go from the bottom box to the second box together where the food is, and I wouldn't expect to find anything. But look at a perfect shape all this cone is. It's amazing. Bees are such interesting creatures. Look at how flawless these individual cells are in this comb. Mind-boggling how magnificent creatures bees are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these frames over and put them there, because I'm actually going to clean these, and I'm going to save this my whole hive box for in case I have a swarm later on, because I have 2 hives that are extremely strong, so they're more prone to swarming. And if they do, I'll reintroduce them to this green box. But I believe for this year, I'm just going to go with 3 hives instead of 4. So this bottom board, which is basically their doorstep coming in and out of the hive, is literally, there's probably 2,000 or 3,000 bees dead right down here. They're probably 2 inches thick on the very bottom, which is what I expected to see. In the second box, I saw clusters of dead ones. In the bottom box, there was very little, few in this one, but it just shows that they had broke cluster. But you know what, we've played with this long enough. It's time to go play with the pizza oven. You know, here in Maine, it's odd. We went from winter to kind of like a wet season, and now it feels like we've popped into summer already. It's almost 80 degrees today. It's a perfect day to do this, so I ended up playing hooky while the guys went and mowed lawns today. I thought we'd talk a little bit about this pizza oven before I take it apart. Because in the last episode we did, you saw where I want to cook pizza on the volcanic rock. I don't want to cook it a conventional way in the big fire brick pizza ovens. I just want something different. So I tried cooking on the volcanic rock, which actually is this piece here, which was the roof, and this was the actual cooking surface, and you see there's chips missing out of it. It just didn't work. The heat that was generated from this fire was hitting the bottom plate, and it literally took chips out of the bottom plate. So after we did the first experimental cooking, we did a second one, and I changed out the volcanic rock to cook on to a actual cooking stone. And now what we found was the flames to heat this cooking stone took a little bit longer than I thought it would to heat up. So we'd put a little more wood in it, which of course makes the flames higher. And of course there's just enough draft, which is what I want. The draft would pull the fire up behind, and it would come above the cooking stone, and it was hitting against the roof, which is another piece of volcanic rock. I wouldn't have dreamed the heat could actually break this one too, but it did. There's literally chunks missing out of this top layer of rock. But yet, the bottom cooking stone itself, it is literally flawless. Even though I had the stones, the coals sitting here for probably, what, I'd guess an hour? So after that fire was completely out, we did a small autopsy on the results to see what we had. And I found, as I showed you, the actual surface where the coals are on, it's flawless. It's like we never even had a fire on it. But yeah, I blew the top one into pieces. And actually, I'll show you some more of the pieces of that autopsy we did of the remnants. This is what I took out of this oven. When the fire was going, I mean, we obviously heard them blowing off. But we continued to cook because I just was curious on how long it would take to cook. So we did successfully cook a pizza on the top, on the actual oven spot, but we also was able to cook a pizza on the main stone, which is basically what you do in a big pizza oven, right? You have the fire going, then you push it back, and then you cook the pizza there. So I've decided, because of the two tests, I'm going to keep this surface, because I thought for a while I was going to have to throw that idea completely out and go with the conventional cooking stones. But now, after doing those two different tests, I'm going to leave this surface. This is going to become my main cooking surface. I am going to have a cooking tray, that can slide in and out if I want to change it, and I'll design it. When I cement this together, I'll design it so I can move it in and out, because I make thinner ones too, just out of curiosity on obviously what cooks not just faster but more even. Now that I know what I can't use and I know what I can use, now it's time to tear this makeshift one apart so I can continue, actually cementing it in. So I wanted to film this little bit of a take so you could see what I'm going to be doing next. So this is definitely going to be my foundation. We proved it works. I can't obviously use the roof of the volcanic rock, so I'm going to use another cooking stone for the roof. And I'm going to start building it around that with the intent on cooking the pizza not only here, but on here, so we can actually cook two at a time which is great. It'll speed things up when you have a gathering. But the best part is the smoke that comes from here when it rolls out the front. The pizza that was on the top definitely has a little more charcoal taste than the bottom one, which is exactly what I want. So now, when you see me next, maybe a few weeks for me because I'm way behind on tree work. And we have some decent tree jobs coming up that would be fun to do. I'm looking forward to them, a couple of tougher jobs and a couple easier ones, which is great to have a break from all the harder jobs. But when I come back to see you next, I'll have this apart and we'll start putting together the final version. Thank you.